dysfunctional vet. What we have is a waterproof electrothermal pad for pets, and I'm going to use this to create a shelf, as it were, to keep my puppies nice and warm. The temperatures are starting to really get cold, and I put sawdust in there for them, but either mama or the puppies have spread it all out and they're sleeping on the bare wood. So I'm going to set something up where they're going to have a hard surface. Now this thing has a velour on it which is washable, and that is unacceptable for puppies because puppies are going to pee and crap wherever they're at. So I'm going to place a hard shell over that. I'm going to set the time for 99, which means it will not shut off. And I'm going to set the temperature for 55 degrees, which is the max that this thing will heat up. I'd like it a little bit warmer. I'd like it about 65 or 70, but it doesn't go that good. And so, unfortunately, this thing doesn't have a thermostat to turn it on and off. The last thing, and I will be making an actual video on this thing just by itself. In this image right here, if I can zoom in on this little jewel, it shows a nice bright display. It isn't. I actually disassembled my control and metered everything out to make sure it was actually getting power and it was coming on. Finally, I put it inside a cardboard box with just a little hole, and I pressed it, and then I was able to see that it did come on, but the numbers are not readable. Now I'm outside. This is not designed to be used outside. However, if I want my puppies to survive, I have to keep them away from the shepherds, and so they are outside. And I will weatherproof any electrical connections that I need. One of the things that I like about this is it does have a bite protection for the cords, and that's helpful. So let's assemble this thing in the puppy kennel, and we'll go from there. One last thing, this is not a sponsored video. This is the puppy kennel, and there's the hole that mom goes in and out of. Right here there's a board that can be removed, which they have a ramp to go up and down, and I'm getting ready to make a igloo type thing to help hold heat inside this thing. That will be the next step after I get this heater installed. What we're going to do is I pulled back some of this canvas on top. I'm going to remove 3 of these. There's a total of 5 up here, but I'm going to remove 3. And I'm going to get in there. I'm going to put the pad in there, and then I'm going to put a hard shell on top of it. And I'll secure the heater in a position so that I can get to the power cord easy enough to check to make sure it's on and check the temperature. But at the same time, I don't necessarily have to come inside the kennel. So I'm not going to show me taking this apart because you've all seen things taken apart before. But there are screws up in here that have storks' heads on them. They're highly aggressive. This was put together with minimal material. As you can see, it's anywhere from 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pine. It is treated pine, but not as in from a store. I treat this stuff myself. The walls of this cabin and the floor are created with the same material. So let's take this apart and put it all back together. Here you can see the little brood of vipers in there. I'm getting ready to stick them in a box, and once I put them in the box, I'm going to get ready to put that heater pad in. I'm getting ready to measure just how big a square I need so that I know if I need to move the puppies out of this brooding chamber, as I call it. And as you can see, they're crawling all on top of each other trying to get warm. The temperature out here is just below 64 degrees, 65. Alright, the plastic that they're on is a Proposition 1 constitutional amendment, Food for Texas, which passed. And so they've got a hard surface where they can take a pee or a crap, and mama dog can clean it up because that's what mama dogs do. Right here, you can see the pad sticking out. There's nothing I can really do about that. The next thing is to move this control up where I can get to it fairly easily. And I may just have to have it so I come in here to check on it. May not be a workaround for that. But it's getting ready to get cold, and I will be putting an actual space heater in here, which is low watt. It's about 150 watts of heating. With the insulation in here and that pad, little puppies should do just fine. And if the power goes off, which I anticipate it will because it always does, a shout out to the electrical co-op out here because they haven't cut the trees off the power lines in 9 years now, and the power goes off all the time. I will go to an old school heater for the dogs, and hopefully they'll be big enough they won't mess with it. So let's put it all back together now. As you can see, the puppies have spread out across it. I've put some sawdust in around the corners of the thing. On the back here, I had to punch a hole. Now it doesn't look like it on the camera, but that wire actually is a vertical rise right up, and I'll put some type of a clamp on it so the dogs can't get between that and something else and get caught. Keep them nice and secure there. On the back side of this, we go through the fence. I have this tarp in place, but I'm going to have to secure that to keep the moisture out of it. And as you can see, Miss Daisy has got, well, Miss Daisy is exiting. Miss Daisy has left the building. All right. So the next thing to do is to put the roof on and finish securing this up and get the power to it. I just lasered the pad that they're on, and it's nice and warm for them. These things have baffles in them. They're corrugated plastic, so as they heat it up, that heats up. They have the combined warmth of all of them. Previously, if you remember when I started, they were on a big ball, and now they're a little bit stretched out. The heating pad is in. I ended up using wire ties to secure it. Drilled 2 holes, threaded it around, then pulled it tight with a ratchet and cutter, which is specifically made for that, so there wouldn't be any sharp points. And hopefully the pups won't chew that. It amazes me what dogs can grab onto. I'm getting ready to put the roof back on, put the tarp back on, and I'll be lasering this for the rest of the day, and as the cold front hits, I'll be lasering it again. And as I say, I'm getting a space heater, which will help keep this warm. And I'll be putting an igloo door onto this fairly quick. In the meanwhile, I may just put a double dog door on it to help keep the air out. This is basically going to close out my video as I get ready to put these boards back down. Dysfunctional vet out.